In the heart of southern Africa, a silent city of stone holds a forbidden secret. Its colossal walls, carved from the very earth, stand as a testament to a lost empire, an enigma that for centuries was deliberately erased from the pages of history. This is the story of Great Zimbabwe. Welcome to Echoes of Time, your portal to the forgotten pages of history. Today, we journey deep into the past, to a monumental stone city that rivals any medieval marvel in Europe. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, its name means Great Houses of Stone, and it is a name that barely captures the grandeur of its existence. For here, a powerful and sophisticated civilization flourished, a beacon of culture and commerce that shone brightly from the 11th to the 15th centuries. Yet the story of its creation became one of history's most profound and troubling mysteries, not because the evidence was lost, but because it was ignored. The truth was a forbidden secret, hidden in plain sight, silenced by the prejudice of a later age. Imagine the first European explorers stumbling upon this sprawling metropolis of stone, spanning over 720 hectares. They saw towering walls, some reaching over 11 meters into the sky, constructed with breathtaking precision. They saw intricate patterns, chevron and herringbone, woven into the stone itself. They saw a vast elliptical enclosure, a conical tower, and a complex of ruins that spoke of immense power and engineering genius. But what they could not see, or rather, what they refused to see, was the African origin of it all. In the minds of these colonialists, steeped in racial bias, the existence of such a magnificent structure was irreconcilable with their preconceived notions of African capabilities. To them, it was an impossibility, a riddle that could only be solved by looking elsewhere, anywhere but to the indigenous people who lived in the shadow of its walls. And so, the myths began. Fantastical theories were spun, attributing the city's construction to anyone but Africans. Perhaps, they mused, it was the work of ancient Phoenicians who had sailed down the coast. Or maybe it was built by Arabs, or even, in a flight of romantic fancy, by the legendary Queen of Sheba herself, who they imagined had built it as a replica of her palace in Jerusalem. These theories were not just innocent speculation, they were a deliberate tool of colonial propaganda. They served to deny the heritage of the indigenous people, to sever their connection to their own glorious past. By attributing Great Zimbabwe to foreign builders, colonial powers could justify their own presence, framing themselves as bearers of civilization to a land without a significant history of its own. The real story was buried, the voices of the ancestors silenced, and the magnificent stone walls were forced to bear the weight of a false narrative. For decades, the true origins of Great Zimbabwe became a forbidden topic, a secret locked away by historical revisionism. But the stones themselves hold a different story. They are an echo of a time before the explorers, before the myths, before the denial. Modern archaeology, peeling back the layers of propaganda, has definitively answered the question of who built this urban masterpiece. Great Zimbabwe was built by the ancestors of the Shona people. It was their brilliant indigenous hands that shaped its colossal walls, their ingenuity that devised the intricate dry stone masonry, a sophisticated technique that uses no mortar, only the careful placement of stone on stone, to create structures that have endured for nearly 1,000 years. This was not some isolated outpost. It was the heart of a flourishing and powerful state, the Mutapa Kingdom. From the 11th century onward, this great city rose to become a bustling economic hub, the center of a vast commercial empire. Its power was built on wealth drawn from the earth. Gold, mined from the rich seams of the Zimbabwean plateau, and ivory, harvested from the vast elephant herds of the savannah, were the engines of its prosperity. Extensive trade routes connected Great Zimbabwe to the wider world. Its merchants traded with partners along the Swahili coast, and from there, its gold and ivory flowed into the markets of the Middle East, India, and even distant China. In return, exotic goods, Persian pottery, Chinese celadonware, glass beads from the Near East made their way into the royal courts of the kingdom. This was a civilization that stood on its own, a powerful player on the medieval world stage, contemporary with the Gothic cathedrals of Europe, but born entirely of African genius. But even as we celebrate its builders, the city guards its secrets closely. Crucial questions remain about its purpose. Was this monumental enclosure a royal palace, the seat of the Mutapa kings? Was it a spiritual center, a place of ritual and worship, its conical tower a symbol of sovereign power and agricultural fertility? Or was it a formidable fortress, its towering walls designed to protect the wealth of an empire and project its strength? Perhaps it was all of these things at once, a vibrant, multifunctional urban center that was the political, religious, and economic heart of the Shona world. And just as mysterious as its purpose is the reason for its decline. By the end of the 15th century, the great city was largely abandoned, its fires extinguished, its bustling courtyards left to the silence of the wind. Why would such a powerful and prosperous center be deserted? Scholars continue to debate the cause of its collapse, and the stones offer no single, simple answer. Some theories point to environmental degradation, perhaps centuries of dense population, cattle grazing, and the cutting of timber for fuel and construction exhausted the resources of the surrounding land, forcing the inhabitants to move on. Others suggest that overpopulation itself strained the city's capacity to sustain its people. Another compelling theory points to a shift in trade routes. The gold trade, the lifeblood of the kingdom, may have moved north, undermining the economic foundation of the city and leaving it isolated. Or perhaps the end came from within. The historical record, though sparse, hints at the possibility of internal political strife, civil wars, or struggles for succession that fractured the Mutapa Kingdom and led to the capital's abandonment. The decline of Great Zimbabwe was likely not the result of a single event, but a complex interplay of environmental, economic, and political factors that led to the end of an era. The city's inhabitants dispersed, carrying their culture and traditions with them, but the great stone houses were left to slumber, their story waiting to be rediscovered. Today, Great Zimbabwe stands as more than just a historical site. It is a symbol of resilience, a powerful reclamation of history. The colonial-era myths have been dismissed, and the true legacy of this magnificent African empire is finally being celebrated. It is an enduring monument to the ingenuity and creativity of the Shona people, and a testament to the complex, interconnected world of medieval Africa. It is a direct refutation of the propaganda that sought to deny its existence, a stone and granite declaration of a proud and sophisticated past. As we walk through its silent passages and stand in the shadow of its imposing walls, we are surrounded by the echoes of this lost empire. We can almost hear the murmur of commerce, the pronouncements of kings, the chants of spiritual leaders. It reminds us that history is a contested space, and that the stories we are told are often shaped by the powerful. Great Zimbabwe's journey from a denied marvel to a celebrated icon of African heritage is a powerful lesson in how the past can be reclaimed and rewritten. It is an echo of humanity's great history, a story that resonates powerfully today. The enigma of Great Zimbabwe is not just about solving the riddles of its purpose or its decline. It is about acknowledging a history that was once forbidden, about listening to the stories that the stones have been trying to tell us all along. How many other great histories have been silenced, their legacies buried under layers of misunderstanding and prejudice, just waiting for their echoes to be heard?